Okay, Laura, so we spoke to you about 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
exactly at the same space right now.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're doing like a follow-up interview because we want to know exactly if anything has changed, what has been different since we spoke to you and since till the time right now.
Things have changed. I've had a lot of feedback from people, a lot of positive responses from people who've just come up to me and said that they've seen my video. Someone came up to me in the street as well and said, Lara, I watched your video, and they gave me some old clothes. Someone offered me a job as well, which he didn't say it so, but I'm convinced it came from here because he knew me as Lara. And I mean, I've never met him before as well. So I did a day's work for him, which was great.
Okay.
Also, I obviously often beg places, which I've stopped doing at the main road. And I've been begging more at the spa. And to be honest, I have seen a shift in people. It's like they kind of notice me more. They're more friendly. They're giving me more things like that. So I'm not sure completely if it's connected to that, but there's that shift has definitely been apparent since then.
Okay.
So I would say, yeah, it's definitely just. It's kind of like introduced me. Like I'm this person. I'm not just some nameless person sort of hovering around the background here.
So like awareness.
Awareness, completely awareness, and getting to know you more as a person. You know, I've got a story. I can speak for myself. That's basically because we become a blur of just the same people asking, please, can I have money for half a bread?
Yeah.
Please, please, please. Yeah.
So that's what I've noticed is, sorry, people somehow connect the homeless people with people that are maybe into gangsterism or into drugs and all of that, which is not the kind of stereotype or stigma that everyone that is on the street is attached to. Can you maybe talk about that?
Not at all. I mean, there's street people, and they I'm not saying that they don't do drugs. I'm not saying that they don't drink and that. And we all know, we can see, but there's a whole different element that comes into it, which is basically gangsterism. And they're infiltrated by us. They sit by us. They were recently kicked out, most of them, from the bridge underneath by Salt River. They've now moved up and they now kind of colonized the place where we're staying. They're loud and noisy in the night. Afterwards, also came and one of the guys spoke to them and said, you must keep quiet in that. And he said to me as well, you must speak to these people like this. So I said, you don't want to speak to them. How do you think I feel about speaking to them? I've actually got to live with these people all night long going off. And then there will also be, petty crimes and things like that. So it's hard. It's hard to also talk out about it because I'm living with these people at the same time. But there definitely is an infiltration of petty gangsterism that comes into the street people.
And how do you characterize someone that is a gangster? Like, how do you know that is someone like
they got numbers? They've written numbers. I mean, someone at this prosecution also had no clue. She said, "I'm just nice to everybody. I don't know. I'm sitting around gangsters." So I said, "Yeah, there's one and there's one." She's like, "I don't know. We don't know how to tell the difference because you won't generally." But the important thing is, if you see someone going out a loud music box, it's like one of the gangster people. They have this love of music boxes.
Those being boom boxes.
Yes, big boom boxes. Yeah, it's kind of like an announcement. I'm here. I'm this and whatever else. And most of them are numbers. And you will, once you get involved, you will see who I'm talking about.
How will you know, like, they have a number? Do they tell you they have a number?
Yeah, it's a whole...
So they come to you? What would they say to you?
They won't come to you. It just gets spoken about. Like, I know so-and-so is a number 28. Or I know so-and-so is a number 26 or whatever it is. It's just, like I said, on the outside you will see a whole group of people, but once you get involved intimately with them, you'll be able to separate out those people are those people, and these people are these people, and there's actually like a complete, like different sort of, I don't go near them, hopefully they don't come near me, but we all kind of we have to cooperate at some level as well.
What do you mean you have to cooperate?
I can't go and confront them and say, I don't like what you're doing, because that's going to be confrontational. And it's like there's a whole system behind. I'm a woman as well, so there's a whole gendered aspect as well.
So you're like a race aspect as well?
Not really. I don't find there's a race thing at all. I have got no issue with racism at all. It's really a gender thing.
You haven't experienced any racism?
No, not at all. No,
okay. So it's kind of like everyone is the same.
Everyone is the same. There's respect for you doing this. I mean, I'm a white old lady. I'm sitting on the streets exactly doing everything the same as everybody else, struggling right alongside them.
Yes.
So there is that level of respect.
Okay.
But a gender thing is like there's a lot of gendered hierarchies and things like that. Machismo and that, it comes with the whole gangster personality. So you can see a lot of stuff. The thing is also we live our lives on the street. So if you see someone having a big fight, we're doing it on the street. Everyone can see us. You don't know what goes on in other people have the privilege, luxury of having closed doors where they can have their arguments behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So we don't really know, but everybody knows about us, and we are usually
No
loud.
hiding.
We are loud and we're noisy, and it can carry on all night. I mean, it can start in the morning and only end up and finish
Like
off
a
the next morning.
never-ending party.
A never-ending party. Yeah, it's a 24 cycle, which is
And it's
extraordinarily
exposed to
tiring.
the world. Yeah.
For someone who just wants to go to sleep at like 9 o'clock at night and wake up, it's very tiring. But
Okay.
I mean, I've learned to sleep through all kinds of noise, all kinds of talking.
Okay.
And that. Yeah.
And okay, so if they're gangsters, are they like what? How are they making their money?
Selling drugs.
Is it mostly selling drugs?
Yeah.
So what
There's
kind of drugs is that?
Buttons and ticks. Yeah, there's always a chemist around. It's called a chemist. And there's always a chemist around who either have or I mean that's it. So it's like the whole hierarchy comes down, the gangsterism. So the smokers, the guys or the women that carry the drugs, that's what they're called. And then they will have to have permission from the big gangsters to be able to operate in, say like in Ops or between Salt River and Mowbray, and everybody's got their whole little patch that they can do things. You can't step on top of anyone else.
Yeah.
If you owe money, you're going to get beaten up to get the money back. So it's all those kind of little things.
And are those like the homeless people, or like general people, or most
who will buy the drugs?
like like the selling of the drugs, like
those are the gangsters. The gangsters will sell the drugs. The homeless people do not sell the drugs.
Okay.
No, it's the gangsters that do.
Where do the homeless people come in then?
They will buy the drugs.
They will buy the drugs.
They will buy the drugs.
Okay. So they also just kind of like clients.
Yeah.
So, and then did they get preyed on by the gangsters?
Sasa week, absolutely.
With
Absolutely. Sasa week, when it's grant day.
Okay.
So they know that so-and-so is going to get a disability grant.
Yes.
So they will send in, I've seen it happen, like one of the women or something like that to go and smoke at night. So she will have all the buttons on her, and they will infiltrate them and like kind of encourage them to spend because they know they've got the money. So that's what happens. So they do kind of prey on Sasa thing. And they will extend your credit as well. So they will give you know that Sasa week's coming up, you ask for a button, maybe 2 days beforehand, they will double charge you or something, knowing that they can get you back when Sasa comes. Okay. So there's a lot of Sasa praying, let's say, yeah.
And they're sending homeless women in, or
no. Like every number will have like a woman with him or something like that. Okay. So you walk with a number, and that gives you as a woman a certain amount of protection as well. So they will have their woman with them. And that's so either the woman it's easier for a woman to carry drugs than for a man to carry drugs.
Why is that?
Because of police searches. So they often won't send a policewoman to search properly. So a man can't search a woman like that.
See, yeah.
So that's how,
So those are people that have women with them, but they're not homeless, that are preying on the homeless, that are getting
They are homeless. They can also be homeless. They can have families. Like there's one particular who's got a family in Salt River and that, but doesn't want to go back, or the family won't accept them to go back because of the lifestyle that they're leading. So I mean, if you're on took and you're awake all night and you're busy doing your washing at like 4 o'clock in the morning and everybody else is trying to sleep, actually the families don't like that. So that's another reason why they actually end up on the streets. There's a lot of homelessness that could be, I mean, the city of Cape Town tries to get families connected again. There's a lot of families who've just closed the door and said, actually, we can't tolerate this behavior at all. It's enough now. So that's why they land up on the streets as well, because the behavior is extreme. It really is extreme.
And is there like a kind of hierarchy on this? So like they are the numbers and those might be related to homeless or not. Yeah. But is there some other kind of hierarchy on the streets?
Like people who stayed here for a long time, like the guy where I was sleeping there, it's like Uncle Marky, the guy that I was sitting next to. He's kind of there's 2 of them there. They've been sleeping there for a very, very long time. Yeah. And they will kind of if I wanted to go and sleep there, so I had to go and say, hi there, like is there space for me to come and sleep here, please? They will kind of keep tabs of what's going on there. Okay. So they've given me a space now. I'll go there and sleep.
Territory
kind of thing is very, very important. Yeah. Okay. Then there's also from Rainbow House. There's something called a house mother. So we had Karen, she was our house mother in Rainbow House. So she is like the first person of contact with if anybody gives a donation or anyone has a problem with that, or the cops will come in and they will call her. And then that actually transferred onto the street as well. As long as there was kind of a community of Rainbow House people around her, she was still our house mother kind of thing. And then there's also the older people. They would be called Ma, like Ma Lorna and things like that. So there's that kind of respect as well. Also comes with kind of a hierarchy, kind of an age thing. Okay. So things like that, yeah. Okay. And if you're a newcomer and you just kind of plonk yourself, you've got to kind of like, you've got to work your way up kind of thing. There's like
Okay.
territory and kind of a hierarchy to follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just getting back to you, so you're saying that you were offered a kind of odd job, right?
Yeah,
Someone. Okay, tell us about
Yeah.
that.
Some guy, I was walking up Station Road, and some guy just called Lara behind me, and I turned around, and he said, "Hi, Lara," and I said, "Oh, hi," and he said, "No, would you like to have a job?" So I said, "Yes, I'd love to have a job." She says, "Okay, come to me tomorrow morning, and I've got a cleaning job for you." So I said, "No, great, that'll be fantastic." So he gave me his business card, and it was done in observatory. I went and had breakfast first, and then I got there at 9:30, and he does it's called Get Cork, and he does like cork cutouts and all kinds of things. Got big woodworking machines and stuff like that. So a lot of dust everywhere. So I spent the whole day vacuuming and dusting and like making that workshop dust free, almost as dust free as I possibly could get it. And he had a little shop attached there, so I cleaned that as well.
Did you ask him how he found out about you? Or
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't the most chatty person, but he was very nice, and I really enjoyed that. That is something that I would love. It's just like part-time work as well. Yeah,
yes,
it really makes you feel just like a different person, that you're actually giving back into society. You're not just standing there going, "Please, can I have £5? Please, can I do this?"
So like you have a purpose.
Right? It gives you self-esteem, things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so like most people are also asking about like your children and your family and why there's no support from them, and people can't understand why that is.
My sons and I were basically like ripped out of our house during Corona, and then we landed up in a house in Steuben's Road, and then we landed up in a house in Rochester Road. And from there, it's basically I had run out of money. I didn't have a job or anything like that. And my one son went to live with his dad, who rents a small room, also in Lomain, with a guy called Lionel. So we had actually had a very bad falling out as well. So there's no ways I could go and stay there. So my eldest son went and stayed there. And then my younger son, he went and stayed with a school friend, also in OBS. And he got a job working at the stock brewery and that. And we had quite a distance. For the whole of last year, I almost never saw them. I saw them very, very briefly. And the younger son was quite, quite distant from me. He was not happy at all with what had gone on. And it's only really this year that we've sort of started broaching that gap, closing the gap between us, and kind of understanding like shit happens, life happens, but we're okay. We're moving on somewhere. Any time a door could open and things can change drastically. So they do help me. I get food sometimes from him from Woodstock Brewery. They often give me some money if they can help me out with money. My son's girlfriend gave me a blanket. She gave me shoes as well, which unfortunately didn't fit. But so they do kind of help me like that. It's just I can't stay with them. And my one son, he's only turning 21 in January, so he's got a lot of burdens on himself as well. He works quite hard at Woodstock Brewery. And it's my expectations, how can I expect them to give more than they're already giving to me when I can't give them anything? If I got a tiny little piece of chocolate or something, I'll go and give it to them. Someone gave me a nice bag that to put on my shoulder, gave it to my son. But like I'm a mother and I've got nothing to actually offer them. I'm constantly going, "Please, can you help me out with the 20 rand? Can you help me out with that?" So it's really, really hard. And I know, I had a complete breakdown during the week actually. I just couldn't take the weather, couldn't take anything anymore. And I bumped into my oldest son and he put his arms around me, gave me a huge hug. And he said, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Get hold of the people on the homeless thing and see if they can get someone to help me." And he just hugged me and he said, "I love you so much, Mom." So that do give me support. It's just not as they would wish, and it's most definitely not as I would wish.
Yes.
I wish I could help them more. Yeah.
So, but is there no way that they can help you more though? Because like that's what most people can't understand, because like you have kind of color and other races that are like quite attached and they're quite enmeshed and they're quite close. And they will always look after their family members and even their community members. So what would you like to say about that?
I think I think the key word there is different communities deal with different things differently. Like just old age. We white people are very happy to stick old people into a home, whereas other kind of communities would rather keep them in the home with them. I looked after my dad until he died. He had Alzheimer's, and I looked after my dad until he died. Basically, I saw him right through to the other side. So in terms of community care and that, we do things differently. It was quite unusual. Everybody questioned my decision to do that and why was I making that choice. But when it comes onto my sons, I think if they could help me more, they most definitely would. I just don't know at this point how they can help me. The biggest thing that they can help me with is being a link between other people who may be able to offer me a job or something like that and me.
Okay.
Because I don't have a phone. That's another thing is I don't have a device. So it really just takes out your contact with anybody. Yeah.
So if people wanted to get contact, your son Oliver did contact us, and he said that he gave us his cell phone number, and so he gave us permission to share that. So if they want to get hold of you, they can contact Oliver, right?
Yeah,
we can give him that. Okay. And you said you had some kind of health issues recently, right?
I had like a really bad eye infection, just from the wind and that, and it got grit in it, and I rubbed and it became this massive sty. And I mean, health, obviously, we don't have money for doctors and that. The hospital was kind of, it wasn't a trauma, it wasn't a district clinic, was also out of the question. So I went to Jubilee Clinic, and they gave me, they squeezed me in, number one, because I got there a bit late, and they gave me eye ointment and they gave me antibiotics, and it cleared it up like perfectly. So I really, really appreciate Jubilee. They didn't charge me anything as well. So it was great, and it's like such a professional, efficient place there.
Yeah. Where is that?
Jubilee Clinic. It's called the Community Clinic. When you come there, 7:30 in the morning.
In Ops, or where is that?
It's in Ops, yeah.
Okay.
Jubilee Church.
Okay.
Yeah, it's attached to Jubilee Church.
Do you think that's run by the municipality, like the city of Cape Town?
No, it's run by Jubilee. It's like a private thing. So it's community. That's why they can charge you 10 rand, is it 20 rand a visit and 10 rand a medicine? So it's really affordable for people like me. Like if you've got a problem, you can afford to pay 20 rand to go and see a doctor. If you get one medicine, you can afford to pay the 10 rand.
Okay.
So it's a really good resource to have.
Yeah, and it's linked to the church.
The church, the church runs it.
Well, that's good to know, because people have been saying, why are the churches not helping people?
No, they do. Jubilee does a lot. They've got a Christmas lunch on tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So they've got a big Christmas lunch that they do in the church, and they invite all the homeless people and have a wonderful lunch there. So Jubilee does. They also got a recycling every third Tuesday of the month. They've got a recycling morning with the ladies from the church. So they'll bring paper and cans and cardboard and whatever else they've got, and then Jubilee will weigh it off, and they'll give you vouchers, and you can go and take the vouchers, and you can exchange it for clothing or jam or coffee or anything like that. So they've got that program running as well.
Yes. Okay, so that also gives you a sense of independence.
And also it's just for women, because it's the big problem, people talk about racism and all this kind of stuff. The big problem is actually gender on the street. That is the real problem here.
Not race, gender.
Not race. No, I mean, you can scream whatever you want at people, but it's really the gender issue that's most important here. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of throwing bottles at people, there's a lot of fluking people, and it particularly reflects right back at women.
Tell me more about that. Like, how is that an issue?
Just in power structures, and the fact that there's very few women on the street.
Yes.
So you can see in the parade queues, and you've got a huge queue of men, and they will push and they will shove and they will do everything like that. So people like JP, they keep the women, let them go in first. The people that feed Ops can, they've also just started recently, the women must eat first and then it's the men. Because you've maybe got like 10, 15 women max, and you maybe got like 80 men. So it really is quite a gender thing.
Yes.
And being a woman alone on the street is just as bad. I mean, it's actually probably the most vulnerable position you could ever put yourself into, because you really are alone. There's the one thing about having a partner on the street is you've got a backup. So like I've got no backup whatsoever. I'm reliant on other people.
How do you protect yourself then?
Faith. Hopefully God will put the fear of God into them and just leave me alone.
And they have been leaving you alone.
They have. I mean, someone said to me, "Don't I get scared walking down the street alone at night alone?" And I said, "Well, sure. If I want to let my mind get scared, I will get scared. But what's the point? I still have to walk down the street in the dark at night. So I've just got to do it and put my mind, over and above that fear."
But I haven't seen you for a long time. I haven't seen you for like a month almost. Like, where have you been?
I have been, I moved from sleeping over there to down that side. And then I'm up and down all the time in between the spa. I've also been exceptionally tired. It's been a really, really, really long year. And moving around and being evicted and all that's really like taken it out of me. So that side, I could actually leave my cushion out and can sleep longer. And that's how you have to get up at like 5 in the morning or something, which makes like an incredibly long day. Also there I can leave it so I can come back, say I've been like begging or something, I can come back and leave my cushion out. Over there you can't leave it. So I've got somewhere to come back to, and I can read my book or something like that. Because one of the things is like when you walk around all day and you've got nowhere to actually go, you get this complete sense of alienation. There's nowhere safe for you to go and sit. There's nowhere safe for you to get out of the wind. All your stuff is rolled up to be kept away and to unroll at night. So you kind of just, you're like this lost, wandering person. But having somewhere to go back to, it gives you like kind of, at least I've got that tiny little space, that tiny little security, and
awesome.
that's my stuff, and I can come back there anytime.
And you were saying Christmas time is quite hard.
Very hard.
Tell me about that.
It's very hard. I mean, the last year's Christmases I spent. The Christmas before, we were all scattered from Don Street. I spent that. Actually, I was on the streets, and so I didn't have my family around me then. And this last Christmas was the same. I went to JP and got the food there, and came back and it wasn't like Christmas at all. And I mean, I love Christmas. Decorating the tree, getting my kids presents, and Christmas was like the big celebration in my family. So it is really hard. It's supposed to be a family time, and it can be very, very lonely. So that Christmas is hard.
Can you maybe talk about the loneliness and mental health? The relationships in.
I think what I was saying was relationships are so tenuous, and people come and go. I mean, it's a very, very drifting population. So it's hard to form a foundation. I had a friend, and she disappeared off into town. So that was like one kind of person to kind of acknowledge. Also a woman, also on her own, and it disappeared as well. So that was kind of like. Disappeared like that.
What was her name?
Karen.
Okay.
Karen
now.
Yes, did you know Karen?
We did interviews with her. She's in Sea Point now.
Yes, she's in Sea Point.
Yeah, she had like one of her videos has like 104,000 views. She's like a massive activist. Yeah.
She is
she's
crazy.
In Sea Point if you want to go at the library.
The last I heard, she was in Gardens. So I'm actually so glad she's
at the Sea Point Library.
Hi, Karen.
She's
we were
one
in
of our
Rainbow
most
House
popular.
Together. And
she's actually become like a homeless activist now. She's quite
she's
big.
very, No, we had long conversations. Like she's
great.
Yeah, she's out there.
Very
she will talk to the
intelligent.
hind legs off a donkey, and she knows it.
Yes, and she's very intelligent. Right?
No, she's super bright and ADHD, so her brain like kind of goes whoosh, spins off at a tangent.
And when did she leave? Because we've been speaking to her about.
She left Rainbow House around November.
She was in Rainbow House?
Yeah,
okay.
We were both we slept in the lounge together.
Okay.
So that's how I got to know Karen.
And how was your relationship with her?
It was up and down. We had like great laughs and great everything together. We also had like fiery, furious fights because she is like she is, and I'm like I am. So, but at the bottom line,
crazy.
like
so it's like the stories come together at the end because we've been speaking to her for like 3-4 months.
Stories dovetail like you won't believe at the end of it. So
okay.
Yeah, but I'm glad to hear she's good.
No, she's good. She has a boyfriend now. She's opposite the Sea Point Library if you want to go.
I will go and say hello sometime.
That's crazy. Okay. Anything and talk about any interesting characters or experiences you've had.
Like I said, I swear to God, everybody's mad on the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy what goes on. I mean, I told you about the sweeping and the tuk-tuking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody here has got some kind of crazy character that
comes out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a way that you cope as well, and it's also a way like. Putting on clothing or whatever, I have noticed as well, is a lot of crazy hats and that people wear. Street people tend to wear kind of almost anything, and it's kind of like almost putting on a clown outfit kind of thing, getting attention because you've got to relate to the public somehow. You've got to convince one person to give you that 10 minutes instead of that person.
Oh, so you're almost like getting attention.
Exactly, you almost like, I always think of them as like jesters or something like that, like the clowns in the courts kind of thing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of aspect as well, And then we had some crazy, we had a guy called the weather guy who was always the one to ask as to what the weather was all about. Everyone knows him as the weather guy, and he's a tall, thin guy, and he comes like into all the soup kitchens and that, like shouting about the weather. So
like weather psychic.
He's the weather guy. Yeah, he is the weather psychic. Yeah, you like look around. Yeah, so he's cool.
Okay. And anything else? What can people? So we've already asked you how people can help you. What else can they do? So like. It's difficult for people to give work and to give house. Like those are two. It's almost like too difficult. So like, what else can people do for you?
One of the things that's really hard, and I don't know if I spoke about last time, is boredom and spending time doing nothing. There's only so much time you can beg, actually.
Okay.
So I mean, I like drawing and school. I've run out of books to draw in, any kind of art materials, paper, pencils, anything like that.
Will be like books and stuff,
and
right?
books, magazines. What happened in the library? I think I mentioned the two National Geographics, like things like now they're all gone. So I've got none of those to read.
What kind of books are you interested in reading?
I just finished a great one, which is going to sound a bit weird. It's called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and it's about a woman in Los Angeles, and she decides to go and work for a crematorium and be a crematorium operator. And it's fascinating because she actually did her university studies in medievalism and the medieval's relationship to death. So there's a lot of talk about death and different cultures and how we interact with dead people. And she, working in the industry, she embalming and all that, so this is removal of the body from the deathly process that she's so against, that we've lost contact with the dead and we need to be able to remourn and get in contact, wash the body and spend time in it. And by embalming and plasticizing death and making it like a Disneyland kind of thing, we sort of like losing contact with ourselves, our culture, our souls almost kind of
becomes
thing.
Like death becomes almost like a taboo, but actually it's a normal situation that everyone's going to go through. So let's be like more comfortable with it.
Exactly. Okay. So it was really, really interesting. And I said, like, because my father had Alzheimer's, and seeing him to the other side was like a process. And someone talked to me about it afterwards as well. And the things that they were talking about was exactly what he went through. So there is a definite process that it takes to die. And we don't like to talk about that at all.
But we need to become more comfortable, because if you look at the previous generations, 100 years ago, people were way more comfortable with the death and the dying because it was part of your everyday life. Now it's almost like this removed thing we know nothing about.
She talks a lot about medical science and then how it's also like kind of like cleansed everything and everything's got to be super hygienic. And, it's
that's
kind
not real.
No, it's not real at all. That's what she says. It's completely unreal. Yeah.
Okay, so people can give you then books.
Anything.
What else can they give you?
Clothes. I always need clothes. Toiletries, anything, same kind of things. Like, I mean,
and
basically,
if they want to come and talk to you, they can come talk to you.
They can come talk to me. Yeah.
What would they talk about?
Anything they want to talk about.
What do you like talking about?
I like talking about art. I like talking about like movies, music. I love music. The one thing I also really, really miss is having music. Yes. So when I had a phone, it's like it really, really that was kind of vibed my whole brain up. So anything. I'm a very open person. I like spirituality. I like animals. I love like all kinds of things. Baking.
Fabulous. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for putting my Lara out there to the public, and thanks so much for responding. Really
people are literally saying you're a legend. They're like, they don't know how you are, coping, and they're like literally looking up to you. So you're keeping us all going.
Thanks so much. It's hard, but it's life. Life is hard for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay.